was saying, we are all part of the need for critical mineral supply, and part of unlocking that value lies within making use of high-resolution airborne geophysical data. So I'll touch on that briefly towards the end of this presentation, but my aim is to present a picture of where we have been with the mining evolution in Saudi to where we need to get to and how we can unlock better insights in the data that we've acquired. I know we've had a lot of talks today about the NGD access to data, but if I'm honest, I have had a lot of requests at the booth for areas of data that will be released publicly. So it's important to know that this information exists out there. So in the 1930s to the 1960s, the attention on the mining and mineral space was largely overshadowed by the oil industry, which then progressed to the establishment of Ma'aden in 1997, and that sort of put an emphasis on mining, particularly for phosphate, gold, and bauxite. And then in 2016, that was when the whole Vision 2030 came to life, and there was a large focus on trying to position Saudi as a large and competitive pillar for mining. In 2020, there was strategic discussions on mining law reforms, and I know in the last Future Minerals Forum discussion, there was some sort of high-level discussion to incentivize mining in Saudi Arabia. So with that, the objectives for Vision 2030 was trying to boost the GDP, quadrupling it. It was attention to large-scale projects, one that Excalibur is currently involved in, which is mapping the Arabian Shield. And it was creating jobs and sustainability, as well as lowering the tax rate. That has been a strategic discussion, and I cannot confirm that it has been passed, but I assume that there will be more discussions in the rest of this week to address these aspects. Okay, so the RGP project is this grand initiative that aims to map the Arabian Shield, approximately 600,000 square kilometers, of which Excalibur is flying just around 400,000 square kilometers of the Arabian Shield. And another important aspect is the geological mapping at 1:100,000 scale. The important aspect of this is the investment opportunities, and it's important to know that pre-competitive data can provide better access to exploration companies to fast-track decisions and to do more in-depth analysis. So you have more information and you can be more informed when making a decision. That's not uncommon. And this project is very globally connected in the sense that it has a lot of partners from the technical partner moderation with IGS and GTK, and different contractors doing different aspects of the survey. Excalibur being one of them, Sanders flying another sector of the block, and the Chinese Geological Survey doing the geological mapping and geochemical analysis. An important aspect, which I think is often neglected in many projects, is the capacity building for training and development of locals in the country, particularly for young talent development. Because what has been happening in this industry is that you do have a lot of seasoned professionals, and you lack the intermediate professionals that can then transition over. You have very seasoned professionals and you have entry-level professionals. So it's quite important and remarkable that the Saudi Geological Survey is emphasizing a lot on the capacity building. All right, so this is the NGD, the National Geological Database, and we've had a lot of talks to discuss the available data on this platform. This is a very progressive attempt for Saudi Arabia because it makes available grid-based geophysical products, which you can then download. So it is a data-based geotiffs that you can then sample into a database, and you can do your own modeling. So it's quite important to know this. And yeah, making use of a platform like this could reduce data acquisition costs as a private company, as well as encouraging private sector exploration and promoting research. And it's quite important to promote various aspects of this so that you can further the knowledge of the Arabian Shield. And there has been concern on the data privacy aspect, but I would like to highlight the Australian data portal by Geoscience Australia, who encourages downloading new forms of data and integrating it into your workflow. And they have managed to find the balance between data security and furthering their knowledge. So if there's any lessons, or Saudi is currently in the early phases of developing this platform, Australia has seen an abundant generation of wealth in the form of investments, in the form of development, research, by making this data publicly available. So if there's one lesson I think that we could take from the Australian portal, is to encourage more accessibility to data. So that's a good step with the NGD, but I think that there will be more discussions to release other types of data. Okay, so the area that I'll be discussing or showing some of the data in is within the Asir region in block number 3. And I will show differences between the legacy data and the new high-resolution data. It is quite amazing to see the resolution that we can observe, but it comes with, obviously, the resolution that the new data has been flown at, which is 60 meters high in reasonable terrain at 300-meter line spacing, whereas the legacy data was flown at 800-meter line spacing. So it's quite obvious that you would see a better resolution in the new data. And later on, I would show some of the preliminary interpretation approaches that we've taken to add value to this data, because having a data on the portal without extracting meaningful insights is not really useful. So in this study, I've used the legacy reduced to pole dataset, which is currently available on the NGD. I've generated a first vertical derivative from that. I've used the new high-resolution data and a first vertical derivative from that. And then I will show some preliminary interpretation results. Okay, so I think it's really important to focus on the transitions here, but this is the legacy RTP, and that is the new high-resolution RTP. So you can see this section here is much better defined than the previous one. The previous one, and this is the new one. And I've done the same with the first vertical derivative. So you can see that this area lacks a lot of resolution, and I think it's important to pay attention to this section here, which will be highlighted in the next transition. So you can essentially see that this structure here was not previously revealed in the legacy data. And I'll show an example later on with the geological map, which shows that this is quaternary cover. So with the new data, you're seeing some sediments structures under cover, which is incredible. And the resolution, the tightness of the edges are much better defined in the new data. Okay, so these are just some attempted structures that we were able to draw from the new first vertical derivative, right? And I wanted to overlay that on the existing geological map just to show some additional insights. This is the area that I was talking about previously, where you are seeing structures undercover. Okay, it's quite obvious that the legacy data is limited in resolution and is missing some key surface features, right? Whereas the new data is capable of detecting finer geological structures that are critical for exploration. And the effect of that is that you can obviously end up with a fewer dry holes, but we've seen from the talks today that there are many different techniques of extracting value from your data. Okay, so this shows a very nice contrast between the legacy data, which you can barely see anything here, versus the new data, where you're seeing a lot more structures. It's actually quite impressive. So yeah, this was the structures undercover that is now visible with the new data. And remember, this is available on the NGD, which we encourage many more downloads so that many more people can add their expertise and drive the geological understanding of the Arabian Shield. So this is one of the aspects that we've used to extract value from the data. And all of this is available on the NGD, starting with the mineral occurrences. So you can download that, plot it up, and create a map. What we've done is we've plot the gold occurrences and selected various areas, created a heat map from that, so that we could use a technique of a Fry analysis to develop or to try and understand the regional trends in this. Like all models or perspectives, it is a model. So the more data you have, the more informed your model is. And I think this is a good starting point because this is already on the portal. You have the known mineral occurrences. You have the new high-resolution data where you can develop or draw additional structures to guide a better interpretation, and then select areas that you are particularly interested in to further develop. So this was just looking at the Fry analysis of gold occurrences, and it was showing that at a local scale, you had dominant trends in north-northeast and northeasterly, whereas at a regional scale, you had orientations between north-northwest and north-south. And that was the value in using Fry analysis, was to relate directional trends at different scales. So you have your small picture, targeted, big picture, which is the element of everything in interpretation. It's important to know your scales and understand what you're looking at. The next aspect was a very unique workshop that was done by Dr. David Koza. And it was a target selection methodology that we were testing for a known location by using geophysical proxies and trying to see if we could relate that to additional areas, right? So we took an area that, and the attempt was to map alkaline rocks, right? So we took an area and we looked at the geophysical proxies, which was high radiometrics, low magnetics, and we had a look at the geochemical data. And the approach was to apply this logic to other areas, which was done successfully. But the recommendation from this is that an atlas is produced of alkaline rocks at 1:50,000 scale, which would then further inform targeted areas. So it's important to note that the locations of these alkaline rocks were associated with REEs. And that was the initial question of how many of you have a mobile device? Because as you can see, so this is the geochemical analysis. All of this data is on the NGD, so I would encourage making use of it. But yeah, this you can see that a lot of these REEs are useful in applications that we're using today. In fact, having a laser pointer probably has some REEs in this device. So yeah, I guess concluding remarks would be, why collaborate with Saudi? Why collaborate with the Saudi Geological Survey or contractors within the space? And it's primarily because it's relatively untapped potential in the mining space. It has world-class data sets with this new release probably sometime this week. And it's in a strategic location. It's important to know that high-resolution data transforms exploration, making it faster, cheaper, and less risky. And Saudi Arabia offers great opportunities for mining and investment. And that is the purpose of this whole forum. So I think it's important that we make use of the available data sets, try to maximize value from these data sets, and not just apply the basic techniques. There's a bunch of techniques that have been discussed today, from machine learning. I know that's a buzzword, but it is a tool that can help you in identifying key areas. So there's a bunch of techniques to really extract value from your data, the currently existing data, as well as the new data that will be released sometime this week. Yeah, I guess from my side, I would like to thank SGS for the constant support through this initiative, Arabian Smart Mapping for providing me the opportunity to speak here, and the Future Minerals Forum for allowing young professionals to share their opinions and have a voice at such prestigious events, because the next generation of people will need to be included in the decisions made today. From my side at Excalibur, I would like to wish everyone a prosperous and happy new year. The background video was a very nice initiative from Excalibur, which got all the employees to share their creative works. And I think creativity will take this industry forward. So thank you very much, and I hope you gained some insights.
First of all, thank you for the great presentation. I really like the difference between the legacy and the.
It's really good, eh?
It's really good. I have a question regarding the feature that you showed, which has different orientation than the other folds. Uh, do you have any reason why it wasn't captured in the geological model, but you saw it in the
Which,
can you go back to the geological map where you overlaid the lineaments that you interpreted? Yes, this one.
this one?
This one. So in the geological map, it doesn't see that,
Yeah, it's because of the scale of the maps that was produced.
and the quaternary cover, was it sediments? Not,
Yeah, yeah.
there is no igneous or metamorphic in that.
No, there was nothing listed. It was produced at, I think, 250K, the map scale. This is mapping at 1:100K. So there will be differences in the detail that's there. But there will be a new map production showing additional features based on the new data that will hopefully be released in the next year.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I guess. Oh, yes.
Thank you. Can you tell me, will the raw data be made available to people so that we can reprocess it?
I highly doubt that the raw data will be available. I guess it would be a discussion with SGS to decide if it will be made available. No. Yeah, it's probably not going to be made available. And there are no line data available. It's just grid-based products. All right. I guess, yeah. Thank you. Thank you for listening.